and that included a Sunday football game, a little bit different, but the outcome was one that we were excited about. I'm going to go back and kind of reiterate some things that I mentioned on Sunday in my press conference. The things that I was most impressed with was how clean the game was. There was no sacks, one penalty. I think that was the PI. I thought defensively we tackled very well, always a concern in their first game. And then there was no turnovers. And I think that shows, regardless of the experience level, the age group we have out there, our kids understand what it takes to win football games. And when you can be successful in those four areas, you're probably going to have an opportunity to, or at least put yourself in a situation to be competitive every week. And really pleased. I'm going to make sure I reflect on all those things when I visit with the team here in about an hour in our beginning of the week team meeting. I saw some physicality up front on both sides of the ball. I thought our offensive line did an excellent job of playing physical. Are there things that we can continue to improve upon? Of course there is. Defensive line-wise, we played close to 10 different names, 10 different players. Man, how fun was it to see Spencer Wagee back and healthy and add 20 pounds to his frame. It didn't slow him down at all. Eli Mostart was another, number 53, another young man that had some TFLs and plays behind the line of scrimmage. I thought Javier Derritt on the defensive line, a young guy from Kansas, KCK, played really well for us in his reps that he had out there. And I know Coach Buda and Coach Gazer do a tremendous job of rotating, playing a lot of different bodies, and really pleased that we could control the line of scrimmage. I think there's room for us to improve. I know there is. Our team talked about it shortly after the game on Sunday. I look forward to getting back to the practice field. We really don't have a whole lot of time to worry about a lot. Nobody feels sorry that the Bison have a short week. We're going to extend practice a little bit longer than normal, our first practice of the week. But we need to get caught up, and it's my goal by tomorrow at practice we'll be caught back up and we'll be ready to go. And we'll have a few guys that we limit reps just because of the short week, and they probably have a ton of reps under their belt already, and they don't necessarily need them all. But we got to continue to get better. There's a lot of areas that we can do that, but excited about how we started the season. I'll open it up.
Short week, adjustments for practices and everything. How else are you kind of changing things this week, as you prepare for your first road trip?
Well, I'll reference this week. Mandatory day off was yesterday, Monday. Traditionally, our first practice of the week is about 12 periods. We're going to go a little bit longer today, trying to get ahead. Our coaches have had 2 full days to game plan, so they're ahead game planning. Now it's the installation part. All that game planning is great. The defensive staff even let me get in there for about 2.5 hours today, but none of it means anything if your kids don't understand what's going on. And so I know Coach Braun, Coach Roll, those guys will do an excellent job of communicating the game plan. Our assistant coaches will. But I think, like I said, by tomorrow, I'm hoping we can get back to a normal Wednesday from a practice structure, practice length. We're going to continue to. Thursday will be our normal Thursday. Friday we may tweak just a little bit because of the shortened week. But before I get too involved in that or say too much, I want to see how we practice first today. Seth won't be playing the rest of the year, unfortunately. Season-ending injury.
Specifics?
Knee. Yep. Knee. Yep.
On the 2D going into that game, he obviously didn't go. Is he getting close, or what's kind of he's on the 2D
day to day practicing today? So excited about that. At the end of just like always, Ross, it's going to be our medical staff who does a wonderful job of taking care of our athletes, getting me the information I need, getting our athletes the information, are ultimately at the end of the day going to have final say. But excited to have. He's been out there working. I mean, you talk about a young man who runs more patterns than anybody. He's at Coach Kramer's hip every day at practice, so he's getting himself prepared. We're just waiting for clearance.
Yanella is now the backup running back. You have touted him throughout the fall. What did you see on Sunday to say he's ready to get more carries?
Well, he's a big, strong kid. His first carry, the quarterback had to get him lined up correctly, so there are things that he needs to continue to work on, just as far as all the verbiage, all the play calls, just understanding how it all affects you, protections. but big physical runner. I joked with him. He came off the sideline at one time. He got a little high, and welcome to college football moment for him in front of everybody and in front of the nation, because we're on TV. But he's steady. He's very good. I think we've only scratched the surface of where he can be. The more reps we can get, of course, the more comfortable he'll become in our game plan. No.
Athletic ability and all that.
He's unbelievable athlete. I mean, a guy who has who signed a baseball contract with the Diamondbacks, playing Division I football, and he has gotten to the cages a few times, but I think right now he's worried about football and making sure he can make the most out of the spring.
Your kind of state of the running back depth, DJ put out that he's at least looking at the portal, DJ Stewart, and then
Yep.
you lose Seth, the numbers start to look a little bit young. As anybody else might look at maybe a position switch or getting maybe some of the fullbacks, I'm curious, what does that room look like?
We'll have to
right
look at it right now. Utilizing everybody. TK Marshall is still an available player for us. Nate Goldaddy. We're going to travel probably 5 running backs this week. We got to make sure everyone's on board. Unfortunately, guys leave programs. It's been happening. It's happening here ever since I've been here. We've had guys leave. Just the difference right now, and you're going to get me going on the transfer portal, is now that there's the transfer portal, everyone in the country knows when you transfer. DJ felt like this wasn't the right place, or didn't feel like he was getting used appropriately. That's his decision. He played more snaps on Sunday than he ever did before here for the Bison. But, he felt like that running back was his spot and where he needs to play, and I wish him the best of luck.
Hunter, more of a running back too?
Well, you saw a little bit of that in the fall. I think when we do have him back, we can do some things. I think he's very versatile. You talk about a young man who had triple digits in touchdowns in high school. I think he's played all over the place, and we'll try to find the best spot where he can help us win.
And Seth for next fall too?
Well, I would anticipate just with recovery, it'll be difficult to be prepared, for the start of fall.
In Phoenix, their availability is kind of moving targets in the wide receiver room.
Yep. Just, again, playing it day by day, trying to identify when is the right time for them. But I thought, we've had throughout the course of spring here a number of guys. Braylon Henderson continues to, I think, show up and show that he's prepared to play. Rajah Nelson's another name. Cole Jacob has been really good, not just from a leader, but also production-wise. So of course, we'd love to be full speed, but you guys know that seldom ever happens. In a normal year, you're seldom ever at 100%.
Looking at the film, have you had a chance to, I can't imagine the output or the production from the passing game was where you wanted to be at. Where did you kind of see there?
Well, I thought the initial thing and what I saw on film is the same thing that I talked about on Sunday. I thought there was some access throws that we could have taken, some naked stuff where we throw it to the fullback. It's a 3-yard pass, but it turns into a gain of 10. I think that could have gotten us into a flow of things. The only time during the game that I was a little frustrated is we gave up a long drive just after we had some success on offense, and we kind of lost our rhythm, our mojo at that time, and I think that would have been good to get Zeb back out there right after having a real positive series. Let's do it again now. But we just got to continue to identify what he's best at and how we can mold and build the game plan around him.
A lot about your guys and their character when they go through some adversity. Phoenix, Zach, what have you seen from them and their roles as teammates as they're also battling their own injuries and getting back out on the field?
Well, first and foremost, those guys are in the training room all the time, taking care of everything they need to. They're with Coach Crimp right now. Zach's pushing almost 200 pounds. If you've seen Phoenix, I think all he does is bench press these days. We give him a bad time, but those guys are doing everything they can with Mason, with our medical staff, to make sure that they're going to be back at 100%. But the other important piece is having Zach and Phoenix following Caden Kuntz around at practice or through the script, and, hey, nope, you got to cut your split. No, you need to expand your split. Hey, what coverage are you seeing? And going through the script with them, or almost being like a little bird in their ear during, and Coach Pauly doesn't have to be that, all the time. But those guys trying to share their experiences, share their knowledge, and I mean, it's Bison pride, and that's what it is, making sure that everyone else is prepared.
Two quarterbacks again this week?
We're going to prepare for, well, I think even last year when we played them, they showed a heavy tendency to run some wildcat. And so, you know, I know I saw the comment from Coach Hill. I'm sure he wants his starter to play, but I think we'll prepare for the starter and then adjust on the fly if someone else is in there.
Maybe some issues too, the time, or how do you?
Well, I think we're just going to prepare like we normally would. We see a lot of situational football throughout the normal year. Wildcat is a big piece of what they do. I think you go back to the 2019 season, include the 2 games they've played. There's probably about 160 snaps of it. So it was going to be something we had to defend regardless.
The peril of trying to play 2 football seasons in 1 year, an injury like Seth could knock a guy out for both seasons like that.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. That's the concerning piece about it all. And you hate to see injuries. You hate to see, especially any injury, but a young man who's worked so hard to get back, and then all of a sudden the fall was not what we had anticipated. And then he continues to wait, continues to buy his time, and then just a freak contact injury on the second play of the first game of the spring.
Having a veteran kicking crew. These guys have been around a while.
I love it. I love it. I don't have to worry much about it. The only thing I have to worry about is they get a little goofy at times, but I think that's just the life of a specialist. But they're outstanding guys. Ross, Garrett. If you've seen Garrett's haircut, I think that says everything. It's a mullet, has a couple racing stripes on the side, and then Riney's probably the mature one out of the group, and it's fun. I break down every day with those guys. They're as good a guys as you're going to find. And for me and our program to have guys that experience, we ask them to do a lot, and they do a great job.
A lot of soccer guys turn into football kickers. Why is that? I mean, it's naturally a leg strength, but is there more to that?
Opportunities, love of the game. I think you see a lot of soccer guys who play football, but also enjoy playing football. I know a lot of our specialists played other positions in high school. They were more than just a specialist growing up. They were a quarterback. They played wide receiver, and then they got here. They became a, specialist, one position.
Cody Monk's development at the tackle spot so far through the spring?
I thought he did a good job. You go back to 2019, you look at all those reps he took in what we called our ogre package when he was playing tight end. That time, that experience was critical in his development. Are there things we can continue to work on? Of course. I thought, we came off some combos probably too fast in some of our zone scheme and in our punch scheme during the game, but I think those things can be rectified. Part of it was probably first game, super excited. We're finally back in the dome. We're back where we're supposed to be, and we're trying to fly around and play with a lot of energy.
Jalen Eber at center. He said he had not done it at all, prior to this
Right.
in competitive football. Where did you guys come out on his performance?
Really, really pleased. There was probably during the course of the game maybe a snap that was a little off center, but we were able to handle it. I thought he plays well. I've said it before. He's a little different than what you've seen as our typical centers in the past. A little more athletic. He can get out and move. A little more dynamic. That's why he spent so much time at tackle early in his career. But you can't have good players sitting on the sideline next to me. We needed to find a place where, and he does a great job of IDing, run game, protections, all that. He's a critical piece.
Cox getting closer to what his brother was when he left here?
He's going to be a really good Jazeer Cox. He's going to be himself, and that's what we're coaching him up to be, the best Jazeer we can find.
We do have a
ahead of where you thought that he was, what he did to come in game 1 and block like he did?
Isn't that cool to see those guys like that? Said, a guy from Lake Gibson, Florida, grew up on a farm down in northwestern Florida, and comes up here as a walk-on long snapper, starts to develop, starts to kind of retool himself. All of a sudden now he's catching passes, he's out in the flats, he's kicking out power. He's been a huge asset for us, not just in the specialist room, but adding depth to that fullback tight end room. Logan Hofstad playing fullback for us. Another, brother of Mason. And so we had, I could go through a list. We had 20, 25 guys that probably had the most snaps that they've ever had in a game on Sunday. Well, the Wildcat, they got that I think they call him a running back on here, Javon Williams. They put him back at the Wildcat position. I mean, he's added weight. He's bigger. And so we got to do a great job of getting to the football. We got to come up with some things that we can handle situational football. They've done a really good job of becoming more physical on the offensive line. They use their tight ends. They're going to try create leverage in their run game. I think on defense, they fly around. Coach Petrino does an outstanding job, their D coordinator. I know they gave us fits a year ago. And so they're very competitive. And from special teams, they're talented. They always have great athletes at Southern Illinois. And so we're going to have to be prepared in all three phases.
A little bit about Lane Tucker's journey. Maybe didn't get to play as fast as he maybe wanted to.
Right.
But, boy, he keeps your lighter, faster linebackers pretty clean.
He does. Really good football player. Has bought in. Lane's a young man from Gillette, Wyoming. I remember going out to a home visit there, and I know it's hard to believe, but my flight out of Gillette got canceled, so I had to stay a couple extra days in Gillette. But it was good. I mean, coming to us from Gillette, Wyoming, he had the right mentality. Blue collar kid, great parents, wanted to be a D lineman, loved Code Green, loved to be an alley cat, and has really developed. I think 2019, he started to see glimpses of his ability to change direction, get flat down the line of scrimmage, be a pass rusher. And there was a third down play on Sunday where it was 3rd and 12, and they came out and ran the ball like on some stretch, and he ran it down on their sideline. Seldom do you see a 280-pound guy run down a back, but, fortunately he plays for us.
Line. Eric from the Forum, go ahead.
Coach, does it help these true freshman running backs that there is a spring season and give them maybe a little more time to get ready if they get pressed into action maybe a little earlier than you thought?
Of course it does. This year, kind of being a free year per eligibility, all of this is outstanding. Development, experience for all our players, especially our young players who maybe their first year here wouldn't have anticipated helping us out as much. Sam Young, another special team, Cole Wisniewski. We're trying to use as many bodies as we can. Twofold. Let's get experience, but let's also try to spread out some of the workload so we're as fresh as possible on game day.
And 3 true freshmen, 2 second-year guys, left healthy. I mean, is that a concern, just the overall youth at that spot?
I think youth is always a concern, but that's why they call you coach. You got to get them ready to go. And I know Coach Bashorner, Coach Roll, our offensive staff will put those guys in a good situation. The positive is Jalen and Kobe both have quite a bit of playing experience. Jalen played in 4 games in 2019. Kobe played all year long. I think you have to go back and at least those guys have some proven reps, and they're prepared to go.
And just finally, Jazir Cox was in position to make some pretty big plays on Sunday. Almost had a couple interceptions. What overall do you like what he brought to the table on Sunday?
He's playing instinctually. I know exactly what plays you're talking about. I don't want to lead the country in PBUs. One of these days we need to catch one of those things. But he is. I mean, he's triggering. He's confident. Again, you go back, 2019, a lot of special teams, a little bit of situational football. Got his first start against Central Arkansas, had some success, had a sack, made some plays, and you just see his confidence building and building. But it's year 3, and that's when we anticipate the light bulbs coming on and the ability, the mental side of it and the physical side start to match.